The 10th cranial nerve is what you call the vagus nerve, and this vagus nerve is linked to the Apostle Simon. I want to explain something very deep about this particular vagus nerve that you'll get the deepest realization when it comes to its role and then its connection to the entire 12 apostles of what Yeshua's disciples are. The 12th cranial nerve of your own being, the 12 cranial nerves of your own being is interpreting every form of information to you in three various aspects. The first point that it is interpreting the information is by the mind, okay? It's by the mind. The mind is the brain. The mind physical representation is what you call the brain. The mind physical representation of the entire ocean is what you call the brain. You have a left side to the brain, you have a right side to the brain. That is when the spirit begins to take a particular form as either a divine masculine or a divine feminine. When it comes to the second one, in which the 12 apostles or the 12 cranial nerves are able to explain information to you, is by a way of the heart, by a way of the emotional resonance of you as the middle. That is what the soul is, the rhythm inside of the heart, the rhythm that beats, the breath of life, either breathing in or breathing out, is what is in the middle. Every form of life is push and then pull, divine feminine, divine masculine. Do you understand this simple thing? The 6 and then the 9, that is how it is. The third part that these particular apostles interpreted information to you is by way of your digestive system. Every form of information that you swallow, the morsel of food that you eat, they don't eat the food, they eat the information within the food. And that is what the physical body is. You are feeding the cells of the body by a way of interpreting it on your physical self. That is the third one. So 1 is the mind, 2 is the soul, and 3 is the body. Okay, that is the 3 various aspect representation of yourself. When it comes to the apostles, the phrase in which they interpreted this particular information to the entirety of what the mind, the body, the soul, and then the body is by way of your 5 physical senses. Your sense of sight, your sense of hearing, your sense of touch, taste, and then smell. All these 5 physical senses encompasses you as a physical human being. Do you understand this? Now, I want us to take a very deeper look into what this particular vagus nerve is as a representation of the 3 aspect point of yourself as the mind, the soul, and then the body. I made it very clear that there are 2 informations out there that are telling you what an atom is. An atom is the smallest particle of an element. And I made it very clear that when it comes to the elementals, you are made up of fire, you are made up of water, and you are made up of earth. This is it. You are made up of fire here, all the way to water, and then you condense down to earth. That is one particular single triangle. Okay? That is one particular single triangle. You started as the spirit, condensed into an ether form, became the fire, the water, and then finally earth. That is the 5 physical representation of who you are. When they are talking about an atom being the smallest particle of an element, contains 3 various variations within it. An atom is made up of protons. Okay? An atom is made up of electrons, and an atom is made up of neutrons. These are 3 distinct things. This particular neutron is what represents the soul. The soul is the neutral point of the transmission of the information between the heavens as the mind, as the spirit of God, and then the physical body as what you call the physical reality that you are experiencing. When it comes to the proton energy, the proton represents the 6 aspect part of yourself or the 9 aspect point of yourself. When it comes to your protons and then your electron nature, they are talking about either the negativity, the minus or the plus representation of your own being. Okay? It's very simple to understand this. When it comes to your atomic nature, I made it very clear. This entire thing that you are looking at is an entire galaxy. Okay? This entire thing is an entire galaxy. And within an entire galaxy, in the middle of that particular galaxy is where you find the star, the neutron star. That is where you find our sun. In the middle of an entire galaxy is where the neutron star is. That is where the beginning of creation starts from. Do you understand? And on the left of this galaxy is the 6. On the right of this galaxy is the 9. They are represented 6 and 9 because of the cosmic dance of the yin-yang. Okay, this is very simple for you people to understand. This movement of this yin-yang is the 6 and then the 9. This is 6 and then this is 9. So the way in which it moves now, in between the 6 and then the 9 is what is in the middle as you. So your heart is in the middle, the one that interprets the information for the body, receive the information from the mind. So if you don't have a deeper understanding of what your heart is or the middle aspect point of yourself is, when it comes to this particular vagus nerve, as a representation of the Apostle Simon, you will not be able to push these particular energies because it is the same representation as your genetic code. This is the left part of yourself representing 6, this is the right part of yourself representing 9, and then in between there represents the 8. Do you understand this simple thing? I made it very clear. When you add 6 and you add 8 and you add 9, when you add 6 and you add 8 and you add 9, you are going to end up with 5. 5 is the physical senses of you being interpreted as having a finger that relates to earth, a finger of water, a finger of fire, a finger of earth. That is the 5 representation of your own self. The representation of this particular atom can be found in every form of religion that exists inside of this world. Every form of religion that you are possibly able to understand inside of this world or exist inside of this world comes or picks that explanation from being an atom. Because if you look at an atom, it's the 3 representation. It's the same thing as them always showing you a particular trident. Either be it that it's a Poseidon trident or be it that it's a Shiva's triangle or Shiva's trident. Is the same thing, okay? The Indian Shiva, this is it. It's the trident. The trident is the atom, the one that rules all 3 worlds. The first world, the second world, and then the third world. The entire ocean, the one that has the knowledge of both good and then evil, the one that has the knowledge of the entirety of what you are. That is the representation of who you are. You are the representation of God. You are the essence of God. Because when I look at you, when I stand from top and I'm staring at you, I'm not seeing you as a human being. I'm seeing you as an entire galaxy. This is like your head. Okay, your brain has 2 sides, the left side and then the right part of itself. So if you are staring down, or if I'm staring down like this onto your head, from the crown of your head, all that I'm seeing is an entire eye with an entire chakra nature inside of your own self. I just see the movement of energy, the movement of an eye. Okay. That's all that I see. When I look at you, this is the middle part of yourself. This is where the pineal gland is. And the rest of the chakras is the one that is going down. Okay, so you are just an energy that is moving in a form of a 6 and then in a form of a 9. The cosmic dance of creation itself. Every form of dance inside of this world. When animals are going to fight, they are always circling in 6 and 9. One will be going this way and the other one will be going that way. Before they'll come and clash in the middle and go back into formation again. When it comes to dancing, women and men, you go to the left and then they go to the right and then you come together and then you dance. Especially in your local dances, every single thing is depicting the cosmic creation or the first cause of what the first song is or the first dance is. Like me telling you about the 6 year coiling all the way down to the 9. In between here is where exists the neutron point. Do you understand this simple thing? Now, the vagus nerve is responsible for carrying signals between the brain, the heart, and then the digestive system. And I made it very clear that the mind, the physical representation of the mind is the brain. When you buried yourself in the middle, you started sending out frequencies in this particular resonance, okay? You started sending out frequencies in this particular resonance. That is the 3 aspect point of yourself, okay? You started sending these particular signals by building a particular body of your own self, dividing what the pineal gland is or the spark inside of your own self is into 12 different representations of your own self that is called the cranial nerves. Do you understand? So when you started, this particular electric signal that you send out, you started as a metal and then you beam. The more you beam, the more you created points of your own self. The more you beam, the more you created these points. The more you beam, the more you created these. Okay? And after you finish constructing all these particular 12 representation of yourself, that is when you move down into creating a physical body, creating a physical vessel for the entire being. So when it comes to this particular vagus nerve, it is responsible for transmitting electric signals from the brain as a representation of the spirit and then all the way to the heart, to the soul. By a way of feeling is how you tell God of your needs. And then this particular needs is interpreted into the digestive system. The digestive system is what the physical material body is. Do you understand this important? It controls the reflex actions, the unconscious movement, which is more than the conscious movement. And I made it very clear that every form of major events or major happenings inside of your body isn't controlled by your own awareness. You understand? Your sense of breathing, that's just one. Your sense of breathing, your sense of digestion, okay, your sense of blinking, your sense, okay, of sighting. Most of you actually think like you only see in your middle part like this. When you are opening your eyes and you are looking straight, you are only seeing a quarter version, okay? You are only seeing a quarter version. This particular part is what you call the blind spot. And the blind spot, your eyes have the ability to see at the corners of itself and then record every information that you've ever seen from the very moment that you came out of the uteruses of your mother. Okay, from the very moment that you came, you started hearing everything before you came into this world. Okay, from your single cellular form, from you starting at a single cell, you were able to hear everything that was happening before you manifested into the physical form as the sight, and then you started seeing the face of your mother, painting the face of everybody that is familiar to you. That is why when you take a child that isn't familiar or he isn't familiar to your face, they begin to scream. You understand? So this particular physical senses of yours, the unconscious part of yourself or the part that acts on reflex, is controlling 90% of the happenings inside of your body. You don't eat the food and tell your stomach that, okay, I want you to digest the food like this. I want you to digest the food like that. No. You don't tell your liver that, okay, I want you to secrete this percentage of bile. You don't tell your entire being what to do. They operate on an unconscious self because your soul understands that this aspect part of yourself is the part that you are most ignorant about. If it is left onto you, your entire body will not work. Okay, so the way that you breathe, the way that you digest food, the way that you blink, and the way that you see all encompasses the particular form that represents the unconscious aspect part of yourself. Most of you have digestive system. Every single one of you has one. But when it comes to how you are able to feel them, can you feel that your stomach is here? Can you feel that your lungs are over there? Can you feel that your heart is in this place? You don't feel those ones. But except those physical representation of your own self, you can't feel anything deeper than that particular extent. That is why you need the vagus nerve. That is why it is only the vagus nerve that can awaken the energy signals within this particular unconscious mind and allow you to draw out the energies that is contained within your body and then combine it with the energy of your heart so it can push you back to being the all-knowing, opening the one particular eye of the cosmic eye of what an entire galaxy is, the middle part of yourself, so that you can understand the various 12 representation of who you are. It is very simple knowledge. It's not about worshiping God. It's about becoming aware of what God is. That is the entire information of what you are. Now, when it comes to the Apostle Simon, he aided in the spread of the full gospel of Christ. Okay? Simon spread the word throughout Egypt. And I made it very clear. When they are talking about Simon, Simon is the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is the ones and the zeros, the one that encompasses all the knowledge of the ocean, combining the brain, the heart, and then the digestive system. Okay? The Apocrypha are records of the book before all is written, the evidence of the Akashic records, okay? The Akashic records. Let's talk something about this. I want you to understand this information very simply. When they are talking about the Akashic records, they are not talking about any information outside of your own self. They are not talking about any information outside of your own self. The Akashic records are records or information that is obtained or that is contained inside of your own genetic code system. And I made it very clear that this is how your genetic procedure is. This is how an entire galaxy is. Every form of your chakras is depicting a particular form of awareness, a particular form and entire information contained within an entire ocean. Okay, so if you take this, if you take only this one and this one, that is what this is. That is an entire ocean. You understand? So every form of information that is existing inside of your chakras, each of them are unique and different from the other. Your root chakra represents reality. Your root chakra represents the different forms of reality that you are experiencing. Your sacral chakra is unlocking your abilities to be able to procreate, to be able to create life by combining the divine feminine and the divine masculine in order to produce a life essence. The third one, all of them, okay, I already explained them. You can go and then check it out on my YouTube page, All of them have a different resonance that is all combining into awakening the most important part of yourself that divided itself into various forms like this. So when they are talking about the Akashic records, they are talking about the record holder, the one that holds the records. They are talking about Simon the Apostle, the one that has the information of what your brain is or the mind, the one that has the information of what your heart is or the soul, the one that has every information of what your entire physical body is as the digestive system. Do you understand? The only way to awaken the Akashic record is by pushing up these particular energies, combining your breath from the mind, combining the heart, and combining the body. Body, mind, and then soul. Combining all three aspects in order to awaken the Akashic record. So when you are looking at the Akashic record, where is the Akashic record? Or what is the Akashic records? The Akashic records are records that are contained inside of your own medulla oblongata. Okay. What they call the medulla oblongata, that is where every form of information about every life that you've ever lived, about what this particular experience of a reality as a physical five senses is, about what the entire soul is about, and about why you are here and the purpose for which you were born into this place. When they are talking about purpose, they are not just talking about one simple thing as being coming out or coming into this world to either be a carpenter or to be a painter. That is not a purpose. A purpose is for you to discover what does it mean for me to be the soul. And the only way to discover what it means for you to be the soul is by combining all three aspect points of yourself and then pushing the energy back so that it can send a very huge signals all the way to these particular centers of your own self, enhancing them into a superhuman form by revealing the information of the entire ocean of what you are as the middle. Do you understand? So when it comes to the Akashic record, the Akashic records are here. Okay, they are in these various particular forms of yourself as a representation of your brain as the medulla oblongata. This is where the Akashic record is. Okay, every form of information is in a particular timeline. Every form of information is in a particular timeline. That is how everything inside of you is arranged. Your brain waves, your representation of your own mind or your brain. When you look at the brain now, it looks like this. Okay, that is information in its liquid or in its pure form as the mind being interpreted as a physical form. Your brain is in jotted forms like this. It has lines like this inside of them. Those are waves. Waves that exist inside of the ocean. All of you are operating on wavelengths. Wavelengths that receive information from the mind, interpreted by the soul, and then experienced by the physical body. Okay, so when they are talking about the Akashic record, they are talking about the innermost information about what you are as an entire ocean. Once you begin to awaken, you begin to gain more awareness into what the mind is, into what the soul is, and then into what the body is. That is how you access more information. Okay, once you awaken, you ask questions. And once you ask questions, you learn to listen. And once you learn to listen, you learn to breathe. Okay, you eliminate the excess that is inside of your body as the digestive system, turning that particular solar plexus, the third chakra, that is supposed to be one that you feed from the energy of the sun. Instead of you feeding on solid food, you begin to feed more of what is energy. And this particular energy is what is going to be heating up the liquid essence of the secretion of both your divine serotonin and then your melatonin, or the both divine energies of your own being as the pineal and then the pituitary gland that is secreting the secret fluid called the Christ consciousness every 28 days. Okay, you don't have to have a congested body system in order to be able to do this. If you have a body congested or excess mucus, you cannot be able to breathe well. You need to hold your breath long enough to turn that particular liquid solid state of your own self as the earth all the way to the water and then turn it into fire. And that is how you become the ether and then return to spirit. Do you understand this simple thing? Okay, this is very simple. This is like the golden ratio that they try to show you. This is like the golden ratio. It's an entire thing like this. Okay, it's an entire thing like this. That is how it is. You need to start from earth, turn it into water, turn it into fire, turn it into ether, and finally back to the spirit. That is when you receive the information about the entirety of what you are as a representation of the 12 apostles. Is this understandable? The Apocrypha are the books that were written before all is written, or they are languages from the ancient past of what the mind and then the soul and then the body is. That means that they are contained inside of the Akashic records. And I made it very clear that when you want to access the fullest knowledge of yourself, it's not about having the books, okay? It's not about having the apocryphas. You need sight. You need to understand yourself from the middle point. You need to push the energy back to the neutral point so that you can have the information of the various representations. The Apocrypha is only picking information from what you are as the middle and then diluted it into a water form so that they can sell it to you. The information is always in the books, but how you learn to see the deepest context of what is contained within those books, you need sight. You understand? You don't just look at the words, you look at the words and then you restructure the words and the words restructure themselves and then you get the deepest understanding of what it's actually speaking about. It's not about just looking at the book and then reading it and taking everything literal. That is not how these people will allow you to sell information out there. So every form of information or every form of book that is existing outside there, speaking about awakening, telling you the truth about yourself, it's not something that they will gladly endorse and allow it to be free on the market. They used to cut off people's head because of that. Just speaking about the word, about you awakening the consciousness within your own self, they used to kill people about that. So when it comes to the information, unless they dilute it, okay, like them picking the Bible, them picking the book that is supposed to be showing you the way, the Bible and then the Quran is supposed to be the ones that is showing you the way, because both of them are just two sides of the same coin. They are all speaking about the representation of you as the middle, but they are not creating the awareness of what that particular middle is. They have projected the outside, okay, the inside of what you are to the outside representation as your physical senses, going all over to the world or going to a one particular center to worship the light that exists inside of you. You don't worship the light, you become the light. They show you the way to access the light and then you are free from this particular imprisonment of your self-reincarnated forms. Do you understand? So it's not about the books. When you are reading the books, read the books with an entire collectivity of a sight. Learn to look deeply and then you will see more of what you are. It's very simple like that when it comes to the books. Okay? So they are talking about it is the evidence of the Akashic records, the Orthodox churches from the East. Okay, so they are telling you that the Apocrypha are books that were created all the way from the East. And I made it very clear that you have a Western side of yourself and you have an Eastern side of yourself. The Eastern side of yourself is where you call Ethiopia. Okay, the country I once was. Ethiopia. It's Ethiopia. That is where the first books were written. That is where the first knowledge about who you are as the 9 etheric people are represented there. Your stargates are in Ethiopia. Your tombs are in Ethiopia. When it comes to the knowledge about the deepest extent or your connection to the entire stars, it can be gotten from Ethiopia. Ethiopia represents the fire. The fire is what contains the knowledge of you as the solid, as the soul, and of you as the earth. Do you understand? It's very simple when you put the information in a simple representation of your own self as an entire galaxy. That is exactly who you are. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Simon carries the cross and then hears all the pain of Yeshua during his crucifixion. Okay? So they are trying to tell you the connection of this particular genetic code to the mind or to Yeshua, his connection to Yeshua. Okay, Simon hears Yeshua and then all the pains that he went through, all the labors of him carrying the cross. The cross is about the burdens of this world. The cross is about the people that don't listen. The cross is about you always wanting quick ways to fix things. The cross is about you not understanding that the truest knowledge of yourself exists within yourself. There is no shortcut to heaven. You have to take the stairs just like everybody else. That is why they made it very clear that just as Moses raised the serpentine in the wilderness, so shall every man. Okay, that is the only way to escape this particular kind of imprisonment and entrapment to your 5 physical senses. You have to learn to raise the energy upward before you can be able to escape this particular mental plane. Okay, so the representation of the vagus nerve or the Simon being able to hear the cries and then carrying the cross and the pains of Yeshua is about connecting yourself back to the divine oneness and then understanding the entire information about what that pain is about. Okay, taking you back to the cross of this, that you died in this to save you this. He died so that you can gain the awareness. Okay, he died because he took away your fear. He took away your regret. He took away your self-blame. He took away your grief so that you can create a pleasant world for your own self, not to allow your physical 5 desires to be able to allow this small little number of people to put you in a particular jail cell of extracting your own soul self and then rewriting you as an entire being. Do you understand? You need to learn to look deeply. You need to learn to go inside. So then they are telling you that the word is inside, the light is inside, the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, thy eye be singled, the entire ocean shall be filled with light. What are they talking about this thing? And you are outside there seeking something other than this. You are outside there seeking something other than this. So please, you guys need to put your head down and then to see things into a deeper form. Okay? So let me explain something simple and then we'll continue with the next apostle.